Hi Daniel, how are you?
Hey, all's good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine too, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to interview you, Daniel.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, actually. Yeah, we've been discussing these things for quite a while now.
Yeah.
So I guess you just got used to me.
Thank you. So, friends, we have Daniel Ghanime here. He's a seasoned practitioner and trainer in hypnosis. He works with different groups of people, individuals, couples, groups, and also with sports people, right, Daniel? That's one of
And
my inspirations. And friends, the qualifications are huge. So to make the long bio short, is one of the renowned trainer and my mentor as well, who has been very influential in my practice and my style of delivery of hypnotherapy sessions. And once again, thank you, Daniel, for this opportunity. So
you're most welcome.
straight away, I want to ask you the first question: how did you get into hypnosis?
I actually each time I'm asked this question, that I kind of just smile back and see like, how the hell did I get there? I don't know. Basically, it was on mere coincidence. It was my the doctor who was giving me, I was taught in Morpho-Psychology. So basically, she said one day we're gonna go and have a training in hypnotherapy. So like hypnosis, as in like swinging watches, and stuff like that. She said, I don't know. This is no. It's more about, yeah, maybe there are swinging watches. I don't know anything. You just go with us, and then we will know what will happen. And it happened that we were there, a group of neurologists, psychiatrists, three psychologists, and one psychotherapist.
Okay.
And it was like, I was there, I was like, okay, let's do this. And it was fun. And I got hooked. But I got hooked actually by a simple video that the instructor gave me. He said like, okay, you can check this video out about a session. You can have some informations, ideas. And it happened to be Gerald Kine, aka Jerry. And I was like, okay, who's the dude? I don't know anything. That's a very old video. And then I went on the internet and started just searching. And then I got hooked with Hans Rudy Whiff and Omni Hypnosis Training Center. And I got certified with them. And to cut the story short, I got, like many people, I got to know many people and met so many amazing people on the Omni grad. It was a Yahoo group for Omni Hypnosis graduates, among which it was Wendy Weber, Beryl Komar, Ines Simpson, the late Steve Parkhill, Jerry himself, Hans Rudy Whiff. Most of the the big names were there, and it was fun. And one day I found myself, after we had a big issue here in the country, and I sent a message to Beryl Kumar. I said like, you don't know me. I need you to help me with something. I have this and that, and we got hooked. And then she introduced me to the Ellmans. So basically, I was trained by Dave Ellmans, descendant, if you're ever gonna say, student, and I'm the adopted son of the of the Ellmans now, with my fairy godmother and soul sister. That's and as we say, respectively, that's Beryl Kumar and Wendy Weber. So I guess I'm lucky, but yeah, I am lucky. Okay, just eat your eat your hearts out. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning those big names, like amazing, like teachers, like students, right, Daniel? So,
Indeed.
my very first question, because there are different school of thoughts in hypnosis.
Yeah.
So, could you please give some tips in choosing a hypnosis training, Daniel?
Okay. If I go, not not all the trainings are bad. Not all the trainings are good. Not everything is the best. to choose a training, it has to resonate with you. Okay. Most of the people, they go searching for a technique name. That's one, or searching for an instructor that is very known on the internet or something like that. And there's no specific one. So if you start with the initial basic training, you should start to have let's put it this way, a clear picture about what hypnosis is, what hypnotherapy is, what is the difference between both, and what is required from that. Apart that, many trainings are just floating out there, many. But as we say, if you get a driving license, it doesn't make you a good driver.
Yes.
So until you have the guts to jump in that car and drive on the highway, then you will start discovering your flaws, your weak points, the things that resonate with you, and there you need to choose something that's very important: a follow-up program, or choose yourself a mentor, just like you. Mentoring is not just something that goes like, okay, by the name, oh, he's my mentor. No. Mentors really choose their students, or their I don't know, mentees. Yeah. So basically, if I want to go straight from the top of my head, like trainings outside the box, I could say Omni. That's for sure. But me being trained, and the elements to be very well rooted in that kind of perspective of hypnotherapy. We're not talking only hypnosis. Beryl Komars has, joined everything in her training, which I deliver as well. So what happens? Okay, here goes. I'm giving the pitch. I am an omni-trained, Elman adopted, Beryl Kumar delivering, and a post program that's the Devil's Therapy by Wendy Weber. I've created my own. So you ask me what is the best out there? My training. I don't know. Just like the best is out there, and I just recite. These institutes are quite interesting because I went. I did the benchmarking. Even I have a big Excel sheet with everything, the hours, the pricing, the way it is being delivered, the content of it, and the outcome, which is totally no one looks at the outcome. Most of the people, they look about the product and they don't look at the outcome. And I benchmarked even students. I did some research, and it happened that there's a big gap between what happens after the certification and the first day at the clinic or the office. Most of the people, they got afraid, and then they stay away from doing that, and they find themselves just with a piece of paper on the wall, being proud of, and they're not practicing just because they're afraid of it. So let's put it this way, guys. If you ever get a training in hypnotherapy, it's like learning a language. 80% confidence, 20% knowledge.
Great. Thank you. And Daniel, a very simple question, because there could be different category of people who know hypnosis, who don't know, or who are practicing. Could you please help in understanding the difference between hypnosis and hypnotherapy?
Okay, I'll give you quite an interesting way I put it. I always say that hypnosis is a cardboard box that only interests your cat. There's an empty cardboard box. It's useless. Hypnosis on its own is useless. Whatever you do with it, that's where it gets interesting. Let's put it this way. Hypnotizing someone and putting them in that state, and doing nothing, it's useless. It's just really useless. Most of the people, they say hypnosis is trance. No, trance induces the state of hypnosis. So basically, Dave Allman will put it this way. I always adopted the definition by Dave Allman because it's quite straight to the point, quite scientific, logically, conceptual, and you can imagine it. Hypnosis is the bypass of the critical faculty or the critical factor of the conscious mind, and the establishment of an acceptable selective thinking. In the beginning, if you listen to that, it will feel like that's too complicated. It's too easy. You cannot access the subconscious mind unless you move away the critical faculty, the guy who just allows people, that guardian at the gate. So you move that away, and metaphorically speaking, no one goes and imagines there's someone in your mind. Basically, the mind is not the brain anyway. So that being said, you have to establish an acceptable selective thinking. So this doesn't deprive you of your own will. Okay, so your beliefs and stuff. So now we did that. So if I moved away the critical faculty, that's almost the state of trance. The establishment of an acceptable selective thinking, that's hypnosis, the whole thing, both of them. Now, how do you establish the acceptable selective thinking, or how do you use that? That's the therapeutic technique you're gonna use. So I always give an example of a burger. I used to give it as a hot dog, but then they said it's not suitable for children under 18. So I give it with a burger. That's two buns. Okay, the upper bun is the induction, the hypnotic induction. The lower bun is the emerging. Okay, that's I count from 1 to 10. You go sleepy, drop it, rosy, whatever, and then you have to. I count from 1 to 10. You open your eyes, feel good. Okay. And then what goes in between, that's the therapy. So if you remove the upper bun and the lower bun, you're left with a normal psychotherapeutic protocol. Okay. So using that technique inside the bun or in the state of hypnosis, that's hypnotherapy. So basically it's two words. That's hypno and therapy. I can even get it, more complicated, but hypnosis on its own is too simple. You can teach it to anyone. Super simple. I can teach it in 30 minutes, but I cannot teach you therapy in 30 minutes. It's a lifetime process, has plenty of personal experience as you go. You learn from your clients. Since from where I come from, the school of hypnosis I come from, it's very client-centered. So it's not about me, it's about the client or the patient. It depends whether you're in a clinic or in an office. And so applying hypnosis in these kind of situations, it depends what you're using it. So hypnosis on its own is nothing. It's almost nothing. So with a therapy, that's hypnotherapy. So let's put it this way. Hypnosis is the bypass of the critical faculty. It's not a relaxation state. And most of the time you get like those reactions, people just floating there. And it feels like not very quite, relaxing, as people would say. And then you have the establishment of an acceptable selective thinking. That's hypnosis on its own. And then you get the therapy. So if you're using hypnosis for therapeutic, in a therapeutic domain or environment, and using a therapeutic, let's say psychotherapeutic or different kind of techniques in hypnosis, that's hypnotherapy. So that's why most of the people, they go putting the prefix hypno or hypn on plenty of things until you can see like a hypno burger, hypno crepes, hypno waffle. So basically it's like putting you in state of hypnosis, but it doesn't give you any added value. So that's the difference. I don't know if I complicated things more than I simplified it, but basically let's put it this way. Hypnosis is a state. Therapy is what you do. You do this in this state. You call it hypno. I call it hummus, by the way. I don't. So basically, everybody knows me about that. It's not about the name. It's what you do with it.
Yeah. And Daniel, of late, I've seen like I do spiritual hypnosis, I do medical hypnosis, I do clinical hypnosis. What's your views about this distinguishment?
Yeah, thank you for this question, because that question was answered in the question before. I do spiritual hypnosis, it's useless. I do medical hypnosis, it's useless. I do spiritual hypnotherapy, that's useful. I do clinical or medical hypnotherapy, that's useful. So basically, the hypnosis is a state. It's like I do spiritual state. Okay, then what you do with it? You know what I mean? It's like I have a cardboard box for the church. Cool. What's inside it? I don't know. There's nothing. So basically, it's in the church. You know what I mean about that? So let's put it this way. If you want to go and say, I do hypno this, hypno that, or I do spiritual, or I do, I don't know, these kind of names. I refrain from saying those names, because every single name, the person will know that I'm talking about them. It depends on the exposure. Hopefully everyone will know it. But anyway, giving names to things, it has been in the core of hypnosis from the early beginning, if you put it this way. Back in the days when it was with the Greeks and Hippocrates, the father of medicine, it was a mind-body connection. And mythologically speaking, and religiously, back in the days with the Greeks and the Egyptians, back with the pharaohs, it was called sleep temples. So it had a temple. It was related to sleep, but wasn't sleep, to the point where they advanced. And then when Franz Anton Mesmer experienced something with the energy of, which is totally different, mesmerism is totally different from hypnosis, but basically everything goes underneath the suggestibility thing. It was mesmerism, and then later on they called it suggestibility or suggestive therapeutics. It wasn't still at that moment in time. And then when Hénin de Cuvier decided to distinguish between the animal magnetism and the suggestive approach or suggestion, the power of suggestion, he came up with the naming, with the prefix hypn. And then, because it was French, it wasn't hypnotism back then, because it wasn't our hypnosis is the prefix, the suffix is. So basically, it was Braid who put the is on the hypnosis, or osis. Actually, it was the suffix osis. That was the English part, but basically the whole naming came from de Cuvier, and then it continues. So that's why I don't care what you call it. And so at that point in time, if you call it spiritual hypnosis or religious hypnosis or medical hypnosis, or you call it a sports hypnosis, it's better to call it hypnosport. Then you will just have it something different. But then sports, it's not a registered name. But when you call it, we have this discussion, hypno EFT. EFT on its own, it's a registered name. Well, people are not coining a new term, because hypno or hypn was coined by de Cuvier and EFT was coined by someone else. And then putting two names together, it's like, I don't know, it's like saying I invented French fries by putting sesame on it and said like sesame French fries. And still French fries. So so let's put it this way. I'm not fond a lot on names. Names are usually products. So I can do hypnotherapy, or I teach hypnotherapy, and inside that you will learn everything. Okay, And then if you are practicing, I do hypnotherapy for sports peak performance. I do hypnotherapy for spiritual use, or I use spirituality in the state of hypnosis. Okay, so I am keen on basically because we are trained in hypnoanalysis. That's the ancestor of psychoanalysis. That's what Charcot and Freud, Bernheim, Joseph Breuer, all those names, they used to work with. So hypnoanalysis is not something that we created. It has been before psychoanalysis. So basically, due to that, I tend to go in the words and just analyze whatever, the words would say. And no one can deny or underestimate the power of the word. So by choosing different kind of words, you're telling people that you have a different product. Thus, come to me, I'm different than others. Basically, it's the same thing.
Okay. And Daniel, there are many fathers of hypnosis, so like Milton Erickson, Dave Elman, and John Kapas, like various school of thoughts. Which one is your preferable one?
I don't have a specifically preferred one. I read about all. I learn from everyone, because sometimes you think yourself you are using something that is like quite new, and you just by reading a book and you discover, geez, that was Milton Erickson who did that, and then you think you have came up with some sort of a new definition, and it would be, I don't know, Yapko who came up with this, or I don't know, maybe I don't know, maybe Kermit the Frog said it once. So you don't. It's like it has been always there. By combining all that knowledge, you can come up with yours. So you build your knowledge on whatever has been said, and you evolve. Okay, it doesn't mean that you are still using archaic methods, but you can rely on that without being stuck in the past. So this is most important. My approach, because I work with regression to cause, but when I say regression to cause, it doesn't mean that every time I do regression to cause. Sometimes I don't even do regression to cause. I don't even need to. Some people, they regress somehow when you're talking to them, because they go back, they're emotional, it's there. But sometimes it's like I won't use regression to cause for like simple stuff about someone wants to lose 5 kilograms because they want to look good on the beach or something. I give an analogy for the regression to cause. Sometimes you don't need a tank to shoot a fly on the wall. Let's put it this way. Elmanian approach resonates with me more. I find myself more into Gerald Kine's teachings. So Kine's teachings are, like way over everything. I find Ericksonian, with all due respect to everyone that's listening to me, I find Ericksonian without the Elmanian approach too complicated for people to learn and too complicated for people to achieve. It's like, it is an amazing method, but at a certain point in time, you had to transform it into so many things, like NLP, for instance, in order to be able to understand it well. So, because Milton Erickson didn't write, he didn't teach, let's say, put it in the term. So it was him. Ericksonian hypnosis is Milton Erickson. You have to be in his shoes, colorblind. You cannot amusical. You cannot distinguish music. You have polio. All this until you have that very focused attention, and his methods and wit, and he's a genius in order to do it his way. So going to imitate Milton Erickson, it's quite complicated. So this is why many people, they just decorticated the whole thing and created that approach. Dave Elman Dave Elman's teachings are teachable, reproducible, rapid, reliable, because it's like it's very systematic. It's being taught to everyone in a certain way that, to save time, because doctors, they don't have time. Let's put it this way. Getting someone into hypnosis for medical purpose and to do hypnotherapy on them, they're not doing hypnotherapy. They're using the hypnosis for the purpose of medicine. So basically they're doing a analgesic or anesthetic kind of hypnotherapy to get them into that and work with it. You don't have the time, otherwise, they won't be working, because if they're going to stay there for about an hour to get them into hypnosis, and then you reprogram them for anesthesia, that will take you ages. All the rest of the clients, they will either die or leave. So basically you don't have time. I find it fast, straight to the point, and quite straightforward to learn. Now, to apply it, it gets complicated. Not complicated. It depends on your experience and, as I said, your confidence. While in Ericksonian hypnosis, it's complicated to learn because you need a predisposition for that. Complicated to and I'm not saying that out of ignorance, by the way. I've done that. Complicated to execute well. Once you are able to do that, it's so simple because it becomes who you are. You start, speaking in metaphors. You can do this kind of flooding of the conscious mind to the point where the conscious mind is stepped aside, its confusion things, ways to deal with it. So basically, you just get into it, but it takes you some time to get there. It's like learning piano and playing the flute. It's easy to start playing the flute, but then you will not be, it's going, or actually playing the guitar. It's quite complicated to play the guitar in the beginning, and once you learn it, you find so many people play the guitar well. Okay, but it's easy to play just a simple tune on a piano. You can start fast, and that's Elmanian, and then it gets complicated later, because in order to play it well, you need so much time. So basically, in terms of time, access, if you want to get there, I find that they have the same period of time to get that experience. But in the simplicity of learning and whatever I need, it went into the Elmanian thing, and I stayed there. It's better to do one thing in a very good way rather than doing so many things in a not a very good way.
Thank you for that clarification. And Daniel, as you have already mentioned, regression to cause. So there are so many discussions, or I should say, Facebook wars among the hypnotherapists themselves, like arguments. So is regression to cause really harmful?
Harmful. Actually, I would have expected you to ask me if it's harmless. Is it really harmless? It's like, because everybody will say harmful, then is it really harmless? Because they have.
Is it really harmless?
because everyone thinks that this is harmful. As I said, hypnotherapy, actually, regression to cause to hypnotherapists is just like hypnotherapy to psychotherapists.
Okay.
It's the black sheep of the family. It is misunderstood. It requires a whole lot of confidence and experience, loads of confidence. And let's put it this way, knowledge and way to communicate it to your client. Okay. If you go and watch a stage hypnosis kind of show, okay, they're doing all these kind of fun things. You see them in the beginning. When we were kids, we see them. It's like sleep, and then everyone goes like that. It's like, how the hell is he doing that? Okay, and then you learn afterwards that it doesn't happen this way. There's like all this kind of things. So when you say like, okay, I put my, my finger on my nose and all your eyes will go down, then you do like, how did that happen? This is what happens with regression to cause when it comes to people watching it from the outside. They see people abreacting. This is what is called, actually, it has a different name. We call it abreactive regression therapy because you need to release all these kind of things. Catharsis is a Freudian term versus the release, what we call it at the end of the line with hypnotherapy and regression to cause. So basically, regression to cause is not something new. People, they think you are re-traumatizing the client.
Yeah.
Okay, that term, re-traumatizing the client, that client, if wasn't re-traumatized every single day on subconscious level, didn't enter your office, didn't ask you for help. And it is the need for having a calm kind of thing that made that person stay away from everything. And scaring that person will not get him into any therapy. At any point in time, no one, absolutely no one, goes out of their trauma without a tear from the eye. I've never seen that. I've done that with normal, bilateral stimulation, by EFT, by even with the EMDR. I've done that with normal, drawing techniques, these kind of things, writing. At any moment in time when you're engaging a traumatic event and you're reaching to the subconscious mind, you will have an abreaction. So what is an abreaction? An abnormal reaction. And that abnormal reaction can happen anywhere. It can happen at home. They call it panic attack. It can happen in the car. It can happen as a emotional meltdown. We give it every single name, okay? When it is outside the office or the clinic. And then when they come to the clinic, we call it an abreaction. And you're re-traumatizing that person. But that person, when they are re-traumatized every single day by panic attacks, IBS, irregular bowel syndrome, the migraine, fingernail bitting, trichotillomania, just like the hair thingy, scratching, these kind of things, they are abreactions. It's not normal to do that. It's an abnormal reaction to a certain feeling, image, thought, emotion, or sensation that is happening there, and it became the behavior by repetition becomes a habit, and that habit is an abnormal reaction. So basically, when they say re-traumatizing the client, so let's put it this way: when the client they have a panic attack, does that mean they are re-traumatizing themselves? I don't think so. So going into that road of re-traumatizing the client, basically whatever happened to that client got him into that position. To get out of that position, pick your skill, pick your technique. And I bet you, whichever technique you're gonna approach that client with, they're gonna have a tear coming out from their eye. So I don't know what kind of not re-traumatizing the client. People are just not understanding. Even in normal psychotherapy, people, they cry. Would that be a release, a cathartic release, or a re-traumatizing event by abreaction? Until we are able to define those things, I will adopt another thing that Dave Ellman said. Whatever happens on subconscious level is never forgotten. Okay, we live in the light of our reflected actions. Everything that happened on subconscious level, or everything that happened in the past, keeps happening to you every single day on subconscious level. And this will tell you plenty of things. You wake up in the morning and you feel upset. Something happened to you and you feel triggered. All these kind of things, and then you react abnormally, and that's an abreaction. Thus, you're re-traumatizing yourself. Unless you're a masochist, that you like to, I don't know, do something to yourself, inflicting pain to yourself, basically. Yeah, I don't think re-traumatizing. And then you come up with the idea of implementing or inducing false memory. It's easy once you understand the concept, the simplified concept of memory. We're not going to go very deep in neurology and these kind of things. I always say, like, long-term memory is a memory, like M, that's memory, equals an event plus an emotion. Okay, so basically it's an event that happened in the past and an emotion that is energy in motion that manifests in the present. You cannot be sad 10 years ago. You're sad now. So basically you remember something and you trigger the emotion now. So the subconscious is in the now most of the time. So implementing or inducing false memories, your subconscious mind is way, way, way more complicated than a simple computer. So if you put a sequence of number on a computer that should be counting in a sequence, let's say that computer has a sequence to count from 1 to 10. And then you remove 2 and you put 200 instead. That will be 1, 200, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It will sound odd, right? Even to a human being will be odd. Basically, if you put any false memory at a certain moment in time and it doesn't add up in the sequence of events, what will happen, the subconscious mind will reject it. Okay? It will be rejected, maybe not at the same moment, it will be rejected later on. So you can induce a certain thing, like in the sense of images, in the imagination, because you are in imagination, but yet if it's wrong, if it's faulty, the subconscious mind later on will throw it away. Now, if you go tell me, okay, there were so many projects, by all means in psychiatry and MK Ultra stuff, kind of mind control. I could definitely say hypnosis wasn't only used in order to reach that point. Okay, so yes, you can have these kind of images, and this is where it is the experience of the therapist that should be there to tell the client that in whichever way, even in guided imagery, you should tell them, you just imagine that you are on a beach. You don't tell them you are on a beach. So basically, okay. So if you tell them you are on the beach and this happens every time you are on the beach, something happened, that's a direct suggestion. So basically, by imagination or regression or whatever happens, you tell them it's the perception, that thing happened in the past. So basically, you're changing the perception of that thing. So this is what I'm saying. It's not the technique itself, it is how it is being used. Just the same thing when they say, like, hypnosis is dangerous. And I say, like, hypnosis is dangerous, and a book is dangerous. If you're reading a very heavy book, you're lying in bed, you're putting that book above your head, you fall asleep, it will go on your face, it might break your nose. So basically, I'm not gonna go wicked on having a gun on a table, and that gun can be used to save your life or to kill someone else. So it depends. How do you use these kind of things? It's not about the technique, it's about the technician. So basically, in 200 years of modern hypnotherapy, there is no single side effect or recorded issue related to hypnotherapy and not the hypnotherapists. There are so many things that happened with hypnotherapists that no one should be very, proud of. And so it happened with everything. Everyone, we have, what do you call it? Actors did bad things. It doesn't mean that acting is bad. Politicians did bad things. Okay, that's an exception. We can go say, like, doctors, medicine. Some medicine you can use the same medicine to commit suicide and the same medicine to cure you from something else. So it depends on how do you use it and the knowledge you get and who's teaching you. Again, it's about the teaching. It's about the guidance. It's about how do you reach that point where you have the confidence to do it in the proper way. As long as you're doing it the wrong way, you will go say, you know what? I did regression to cause and it didn't work. Of course it doesn't work. Regression to cause is the carriage, is the carrier. It's what you do with it. You're using regression to cause to do hypnoanalysis. You're doing regression to cause in order to uncover whatever happened back then. And also I can, confirm that whatever happened is also some sort of a perception of that event. But I don't care if they are penguins in the Antarctica or they are just, like the King Tut in ancient Egypt. I don't care. It's the emotion that is, interesting. So basically, there are many techniques to do the regression to cause and how to approach it until you really have done. Many people, they said, we've worked with regression to cause. We did plenty of amazing things with it, but now we don't use it anymore because we found a simpler way, a simpler technique. That doesn't mean that regression to cause is not working. Okay, you know what I mean? So many people whom I really, 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 appreciate and kind of I see them in a very good place. How we go what's his name? I remember. It's like they speak about it. They speak highly about it and say, I'm not doing this anymore, not because it doesn't work, because I found so many other things and I developed my own. Okay. So developing your own approach, since you started knowing the main ingredients of the therapy, you can use it in and out and you don't need to do that. It's like using parts therapy with regression to cause. Yes. You regress the parts rather than regressing the person. And all kind of mixtures, like working with, let's say, a very severe trauma, an explosion, or somebody died, or a rape victim. You don't just regress them to the event and just like bash them. You regress them before that, and then afterward you bring them after the event and show them that they survived. And then, whoever is listening to this is this is something I can tell you, it's invaluable if you're going to do this. So yeah, it is totally misunderstood, totally misused, and so let's put it this way: judging a book by the cover is quite not interesting. It's something not interesting to do. Yeah, that's regression to cause. I don't know if I missed something, but basically that's most of the time it's misunderstood. Do you have did anyone tell you anything quite unusual for that?
Unusual in the sense, especially the discussion of regression to cause comes in two aspects, Daniel. Let's say someone was abused in their childhood or gone through some severe trauma, and their point is, why do I have to take my client to that painful memory and make them re-traumatize? I have many other ways to help them get over it. So that's the point it comes when it comes to regression to cause. And the second approach is like, root cause is not always one reason. There could be many. So what's the point in trying to regress a person to the cause? These are the two things which frequently is being discussed in the hypnosis world. So
and this comes from the misunderstanding of it. Literally, people, they think, okay, let's go chase the ISE. You don't need to do that. That will pop on its own. Okay. You can, if you do, let's say, we're gonna name techniques and stuff. I hate naming techniques. It doesn't matter. But anyway, if you're gonna do like inner child work, once you do the inner child work, sometimes you just avoid working with the ISE. That moment in time, that kind of aha moment, it will make things be clearer, because the subconscious mind keeps processing even after the session. So sometimes they go home and they send you a message like, something happened, I just discovered what the hell happened, and it's like, and then they come back and it's fine. So yeah, it's like, let's put it this way. If you consider, they tell you, I know different techniques other than, I used, for an example, I used dissociation, or what also known as fast phobia cure, an NLP technique, the theater stuff. Does that mean the rest of the phobia cures in NLP are useless? You just use that because you feel comfortable using it. And you avoided the others because you're more comfortable with this. Or at least it resonates more with you, or you felt like doing it. Okay? So you didn't mention, I didn't use regression to cause. I used that. But basically, if you want to, negate the usage of regression to cause, you need to negate every single other technique you didn't use. Otherwise, you go say like, usually if you're asked, what kind of techniques to use, most of the time, I don't use regression to cause. I ask you, what techniques to use? Okay. It's like, so basically, people that go defensive on that, as I told you, it's a black sheep of the family. And in some places, I know it based on experience. I'm not stereotyping. In some cases, I call it the Peters principle. They reach that level of their own incompetence to the point where they're not using it because they're not good at it. As simple as that. And then when they learn it well, they say, I should have learned that way long time ago. When I mentor people, they say like, I'm not, confident in using, regression to cause. I say like, it's very simple. And I teach them how to do that. And then a week later, they send me a message like, it's a godsend. I was able to do this. It's like, yeah, this is how it happens. It's nothing new. It's not like you can brag about it, but later on it will be natural because things they happen as simple as that. It's not as people would say about it. So basically, it's about again, it's confidence and knowledge. Okay, so the knowledge won't make you a confident therapist. Practicing the whole time, and we're lucky as hypnotherapists that we can use hypnotherapy with ease and with a clear conscience, because it's not us who's doing the thing, it's the client. So
right. Okay. So Daniel, this is one school of thought where people have a problem with re-traumatization, regression to cause and all that. There's another school of thought where people are trained in regression and do the regression to the client and give some recording and they're fine. What is your view on giving recordings and ask them to listen to a couple of weeks or months? Is it beneficial?
Okay. I'm not so fond of that. I don't do recordings. And to tell you the truth, I prefer doing the direct drive at the clinic or in the session rather than sending them a direct drive session by giving them a direct suggestion. And I'm laughing because it reminded me about one episode, Friends, and okay, everybody knows that, the episode with hypnosis thingy. And yeah, many people would give that. Sometimes it feels to me, with all due respect to everyone who's giving that, it's an extra money, which is good. Okay, so it gets like more attractiveness of cross-selling. You say like, okay, I'll give you the session for $250 or $500, and I give you a recording that you listen to it for 3 weeks or 3 months. Okay, I've never met anyone who is able to continue that listening to that recording program for more than a week. You know why? For a simple reason. When you're doing that, unless you're giving them a post-hypnotic suggestion that you will listen to that effortlessly, they're going to use their willpower. Once they use their willpower, they're engaging the conscious mind into doing something. And sometimes there are more priority for doing something else, even though it feels like I'm going to go to sleep, but I have a homework that I have to listen to this. Even though this, I can listen to it and sleep afterward. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, when you engage your willpower can be there for you on one simple subject for 2 weeks, and then afterward, your willpower, it's a conscious process anyway. So basically, as a conscious process, your willpower will not serve you as a certain reminder that you need to listen to that. So you will listen to it for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, you start feeling, I don't want to continue with that, until you go, do the program and that. And it's one thing, I've heard it so many times, if nothing happened, they blame the client. You didn't listen to it more than 2 weeks. You didn't listen to it for 21 days, because in 21 days you create something. So basically, you just throw it on the client. I hate to do that. I just I like to take responsibility of whatever I do. And it's sometimes whenever you're doing a direct drive session, you need to record that session in the session with that person at the same time, because I don't believe in the one size fits all thing. Okay, you want to stop smoking, take this. It's like one thing that Jerry was saying about how to read a script. It's like, remember a day when you were a boy or a girl. Just take a look at your client because you're reading it, boy or girl. Then you look at that. Give a look at your client and see whether they are, man or a woman. So basically, you cannot go sending something that one size fits all. It's a good money, but I don't know if people have, I don't know. It's like the inclination of doing that anymore, unless you're giving them this as some sort of a pill. They have to take it after the session. No. Then the simple answer is no. The long answer, I went through it.
Yeah. And what's your view on customizing a specific audio, custom client-specific requirements? We have recorded an audio and given to them. You're still.
This is what I said. If I ever wanted to record something as a direct drive, I have to have that client in front of me due to the aspect of connecting on subconscious level as a client and therapist, and then do that in person and record it, and then give them that recording to listen to it. Because then, how do they react? And then you are, guiding them through that, whatever you're doing, the script or whatever. And then sometimes you find yourself, ad lib, you have, it doesn't, I don't know, their behavior, their kind of reaction to it, you kind of change, lanes of whatever suggestion you're giving, and that will stick, and they can pick it up with them. So I'm fond of live music rather than recorded ones. So I can send them I can give them the live concert recording rather than sending them studio recording, and they get shocked when they see the live form of it.
Script or no script? What's wrong in using scripts, Delia?
There's nothing wrong in using scripts.
Okay.
But let's put it this way. Scripts, as I said, they're not one size fits all. Okay? So you have to adapt that script to your client. And who's better than your client to give you the script? So whenever we do the uncovering techniques, we do the interview, some people, they say like, you don't need to do this kind of pre-talk, that's a waste of time. Okay, yeah. In your ways, it's a waste of time. In my ways, it's a treasure. I know it's a wealth of information that I can build my own script out of it, and I usually use the script as I go, even in regression to cause or forgiveness or child work or post therapy. I use that as a script. It's a script at the end of the day. So basically, you're using these kind of scripting techniques like compounding of suggestions, doing these kind of dissociations, all these kind of guided imageries, all the things. You're doing a script at the end of the day. But it took me some time until I that's a commercial, ladies and gentlemen. Ditch the script, the book by Wendy Weber. It took me some time until I ditched the script, but not very long, because I discovered I was carrying along a huge binder of scripts and an iPad. So it's actually, I had double, I wasn't so sure what to do, because I had the things on the iPad, and what if the iPad, I was so nervous, what if the iPad's battery went out, or and then I take the binder and what if the electricity went out and I can't read the binder? So basically I have to get a backup, whatever will happen there. And that's okay, I still have it. Actually, it's like a reminder to me in the intake form. It's like, I did a form, steps, and called it session preparation form. It's what scripts should I use? And 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's and after a couple of years, I discovered that I've never used that page. I always wrote notes on it, because, and then it's better to have it a white page, because a white page can be useful more than this. And then I discovered I travel light, because when you're doing your regression to cause, okay, let's put it this way, or doing parts work, or doing inner child work, the thing that we use to do. And due to so many times we use scripts, it kind of, you get all this experience. So you start traveling light. The only thing you need is the file for your clients, whatever, you have a pile of files, and an iPad with things on it. Okay, you might have some sort of a memory, but I've never used that. So usually, I have the iPad at the clinic with music on it, and my calendar, and they use answer emails or run the Zoom sessions on it. It happened that I've never used that for a script, even though it feels sometimes to use the script, because one size doesn't fit all. That's the whole thing. So when they come to me and said do you have script for headache? I said how long time hasn't been happening? What happened there? 5 years. What happened 5 years ago? Okay, I didn't ask. Okay, don't you? Can you please try ask these questions and come back to me? This is happening. I discovered that something happened when she was a child, and it's okay, go do regression to cause. Why are you asking me for a script? You know what I mean? It's when you get a script, it's about you as a therapist. When you do regression to cause, you're nothing. You're just a guide. You're a pilot of dreams. You're there just to guide them into solving their own problems, because they know more about their problems than you do. Believe me, they've been with themselves since day one. Okay, you just met them 1 hour ago.
And last question, Daniel. What is your suggestion for people who are scared of learning or applying regression to cause? And second, extension of it is, some people are trained in it but haven't got enough experience. So would mentoring help them in such cases?
Okay, the first part, you're talking about being afraid as a client or as a therapist?
As a therapist.
As a therapist, afraid of doing it.
Afraid of doing it, but got trained and not feeling confident and scared.
Exactly. This is what I was going through. I can tell you one thing. As we say, there's a proverb, we say it here in Lebanon, or in Arabic actually. It's the man is man, as in capital M, human being, is the enemy of what they ignore, or they're ignorant of. So basically, if you don't know something about like you don't know anything about something, then you will say like it's bad. It's out of protection. You just keep yourself away from it. So it's fear is protection. Here we go. That's what we do. Okay, fear is protection. Okay, and if you kind of push that fear, you're gonna have anger because they're gonna be like aggressive to you, and this is what's happening with defending or going against regression to cause. Let's put it this way. If you're afraid to do something, then you're most of the time protecting something, protecting yourself, protecting your reputation, protecting your knowledge from being labeled as ignorant or something like that. So first, no one is pushing you to do anything. But when you find, when you find yourself, find yourself not able to solve an issue, when you did everything you know, I would say you just send them to me. So I'm like, do so, like it's no crime to transfer your clients to another therapist. Okay, if you are a client-centered person, you want to have the good benefit for that client, so send them for someone else, just like any other doctors or any other practitioners or any. It's like you don't keep them with you. It's like, no, they're for me, they're my clients. I'm not going to share them with anyone. Now, for others who want to learn, whoever wants to learn regression to cause, they got it in a training. They're aware that they're not either fit or confident to do that, and they're not doing the first step, even though they love to do it. If they can't do the first step, then they need more confidence. I would say, go to another training where, just like do more practice on it. The problem is when you are practicing with students, sometimes they are predisposed to do that. Practicing with clients is totally different. So that's why in my trainings, I don't tell students to practice with each other. I tell them, go do it. Videotape it. They videotape it. It's like record a film, a movie about it, and then come back, and then we can troubleshoot it. Because when you do it with totally, like, let's say, family members or total strangers, you need more confidence to do that. And you are being opposed and resisted in so many ways. Like sometimes they demean you. They just like, oh, okay, you're gonna hypnotize me. Just do that. So basically, it's intimidating. In class, it's effortless because whoever is in front of you, sometimes I am in hypnosis, and I'm not. So basically, I can play it. It's like, I felt this and that, and I didn't feel anything. So basically, it's something like, if it's not available to have this kind of practice, get yourself a mentor. Know where you're doing it wrong. Whenever you do it, and then go back and discuss it. This is what we're doing, me and you, most of the time, So basically, it doesn't take long until you catch up with whatever you've been doing wrong, and then you start doing it the right way. It doesn't mean that I'm doing it the right way. Listen, maybe today I'm doing it. I think I'm doing it the right way, and then later on I discovered, because many things have changed from the day I learned it till the day I'm doing it. If I go, reach back to the point where I started doing it, I do it totally different now. Totally different, but it's still the essence of it. The knowledge related to go before the trauma, go after the trauma, work it out, do it with these kind of steps. It is still there. The ingredients are still there. Okay, so it's up to you how to use them. So first, fear. Stay away from fear because it's protecting you from something. Reach deep down inside yourself and say, like, what am I trying to protect? Is it my knowledge, my influence, my image, whatever, that I know everything? If it's that, go to someone, a total stranger that doesn't know you, don't have any common friends on the internet. If it's like something and you're keen on learning, like anything, get yourself a mentor. Put yourself on a program. Learn it from the right people. We're just a few out there who are very, like sticking to that. Omni Hypnosis Training Center is one of the widely known. And if you can't afford that, you can always get yourself mentorship, which is like you can work it out. It's like, because you get your training, you get your certification, what happens next? That counts. Okay, you could have the best trainings ever, and you just sit there, do nothing. I've had students sitting trainings with me, and I asked them, now, what are you doing? I'm not practicing it. No. Okay, it's up to you. So it's fear. Basically, both chunks of the questions are related to fear. One is ready to face the fear. Two, the first one is not ready at all. they're not even considering it, and they're resisting to it. The second one, they know they have fear, and they want to learn how to go through it. So it's mostly about fear. You know that there are two things that will push anyone not to go in hypnosis. That's fear of hypnosis and fear of what they might discover in hypnosis. And they're applicable to therapists as well. They are either afraid of the technique or afraid of what they might discover, their ignorance in the technique.
Hey, thank you. Thank you very much, Daniel. And friends, I'm providing all the description and how to reach out Daniel for personal sessions or mentoring or training. I'll be mentioning all the required details. And thank you once again, Daniel, for this wonderful, wonderful talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Nizam, and hopefully to see you soon. That was an amazing time. Quite interesting. It was quite handful and plenty of information. Hopefully, people will see benefit out of that. So keep doing the world a better place.
Thank you.
Bye bye.